What is up, beautiful humans? This is Blythe Langford, your personal freedom coach. Now, don't tell anybody I'm still up. It's 2:30 in the morning, but sometimes I just get really happy and excited and I can't go to bed yet. So it's one of those days. It's raining outside. I know it's going to be cold in the morning. It's the middle of winter. So, oh well. Personal freedom coach, that means that you're radically free to do whatever the fuck you want at any given time because you don't have to abide by anybody else's rules. You get to make them up for yourself. So this is what's happening for me right now. So I just really wanted to share about this because we had an amazing, I had an amazing share with one of my dearest friends early. Her name's Maya. She's an amazing intuitive as well. We were talking about a whole lot of things and we had so much interference. We had to do the video like 3 times and it still was terrible sound on my end, even though we changed devices and all of the things. And it was really present for both of us that because it was such an important transmission of what's coming through in New Earth, that like it was a massive frequency transmission coming through and it was just very high vibe and very interesting how much interference there was with technology from it, right? So I just wanted to share a little bit about my personal experiences with visions of the New Earth because I'm an Earth intuitive. So since I was a kid, I would always have visions of what it was going to be like when I grew up, right? Which probably never, but what it's going to be like. And I continue to get visions and downloads from Mother Earth when I go and meditate in stillness, with my feet connected into the sand, down on the beach. And so I just wanted to share some of these visions with you because I know it's a little bit of a really interesting time and a lot of people are in their fear and their anxiety and all of that. And it's totally valid and I totally see you. And sometimes I get like that too, sometimes for like a split second. So I wanted to share with you some of the visions that I have. So some of the visions, they're not my visions, that I've been gifted, that I get to see, that I've been seeing over the last 15 years constantly, that show up of what is coming. Because I feel that it's really important for all of us to be part of this new earth, to keep on putting out their visions as well of the future. So not just spreading what is going on at the moment, because that is very important. Of course, we want everybody to be inspired and informed of what is going on so everybody can make their own choice. Nobody really knows what's going on. At the end of the day, like we can all think that we know, and I'm the last person to say that I know everything. I know nothing, and none of us, not one human on this planet will ever know, even in the future, everything that happened right now. We're in so much of the things going on, right? And cool, as long as we're sharing that so that we can wake other people up. But another way that we can wake people up so that we can all create this new earth together is sharing our visions for the future and what is possible, so that people can have in their mind the vision of what is possible rather than the vision of what they are being sold at the moment. Because what is being sold at the moment is not pretty, right? And it's being sold like mainstream media. I know a lot of people that are on my channels are not mainstream media people. So I can talk to you guys because you're a little bit woo-woo just like me. So a lot of the mainstream people that are out there are being sold this, well, if they're actually able to think in the future, a lot of them are just so stuck right now in the world, wearing the mask, doing all those sort of things. But if they have visions of the future, it's generally going to be like, oh, everything will either go back to normal as it was. We might have to separate. We might have to do this, da 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 da. Like, it's not really thinking of the new world that we all want to create and this new earth that we all know is fucking on its way, right? And so another way that we can wake people up is keep on sharing the message and the vision of the future. So for me, the visions that I have of the future are so freaking beautiful. And I've said it a million times before, but there's many people that haven't heard it. But like the cities, right? What I see for the cities, as soon as somebody says New Earth, I like literally, oh, my heart, it makes me so happy, right? Because I literally see the cities, the buildings, like the buildings covered like with greenery, with plants, with shrubs all around the bottom, with food trees all through the city, so that there is like food on tap at any given moment in time. And sustainable buildings, like it doesn't matter how big that building is, it can have greenery the whole way up it. Like When I say it, I literally see those visions in my mind, and they're not mine. They've been gifted to me from Mother Earth. She shows me regularly these visions because they are possible. There are so many, not that many, but there are so many buildings out there which are completely sustainable, right? Their crap, literally their shit in their toilets does not go into our oceans. Whereas everybody else's toilets, our shit goes into the ocean. And then we all say that we love the ocean, yet we're shitting literally in the ocean. So we can all have sustainable buildings, sustainable houses, and toilets that are designed completely different, where our crap goes into Mother Earth, because we are expressions of Mother Earth, and that is where our waste should go, because it is fertilizer for the earth, for the new earth, right? So our crap gets to go there rather than in the place that we want to swim. And we talk about it being so clean, yet every single day, all of us flush our toilets 1,000,000 times, right? So like step number 1, our shit goes in the ocean and we don't want it to go in there anymore. So let's have a vision that we will have sustainable buildings and sustainable homes so that our crap goes where it is supposed to, right? That is key. And also with now it is 2:30 in the morning here, so like stay with me. I'm a little bit like this, so stay with me if you can, right? So then also the buildings that because a lot of buildings are covered in glass, right? And when you actually work with the glass and work with the sun and work with the nature and work with all of it so that it's all in, it creates its own ecosystem, we can actually make a lot of the buildings in our cities like greenhouses, right? We can actually have greenhouses and food growing in our cities, in our streets, absolutely everywhere, so that there is food for people everywhere, right? So that we don't have to have these poisoned foods. Like literally, I saw a doctor yesterday post that he had taken a hair sample, and just seeing what was in his hair was all these chemicals that they spray on food. And that was in his hair. That wasn't even, like, ugh, it's just gross. So we can actually have organic plant matter all throughout our cities, definitely in our rural areas, but absolutely in our cities. And I literally, when I see the visions of the cities, these buildings are like beautiful and green, and because there's like lots of plants and trees everywhere, there's a lot more birds and butterflies and animals, right? It's literally so beautiful, and it's so possible. So I'm just sharing this so that people can understand there is something different. Like if you go into the city, like just imagine when you go in there, like every time you go in there or you drive through there or whatever, just imagine what it could be rather than what it looks like now. Because we've all got to remember that we are major visionaries. We are manifesting amazing people. We are like the best at bringing the visions of the future into the nowness, right? And it all starts with a thought. And if all of us are having similar thoughts, then we can amplify this vision even quicker, and we can bring it into reality a lot sooner. So I would advise you, if you would like to share with me when you go into the cities, that you imagine just all of those buildings, like visualize it with plant matter everywhere, with like beautiful big blue butterflies and with birds flying everywhere. Just imagine those visions. Or even just before you go to bed at night, just like have a little vision, like take 1 minute each day just to visualize what our world could be like. Because we spend so much time, like all of us intuitives and all of us like amazing manifestors, we spend so much time not concentrating on the visions of what we want the world to look like. So just 1 minute a day, if we could spend the same amount of time that we do looking on social media, looking through like what's the latest thing going on in the news, whether it be a conspiracy theory, truth, or mass media like mental manipulation, whatever it is that you're looking at, if we could spend that same amount of time, literally, well, not even that same amount of time, it just wouldn't happen. None of us think about the future as much as we think about somebody else's version of the past, right? So let's like plant in our minds that like we can have this practice to really 1 minute a day think about the future and the world that we want to create. And everybody's visions will be slightly different, but you know what? We've all seen it before, and I'm sure it'll be pretty similar. So in our vision, in our hearts of hearts, if we think what this world could really be like, it's not too different, right? Like all of us people that are like, I know none of us like to say that we're woke, and half of us love to say that we are woke, but you know what I mean? If us people do that, then it can create major changes. Like we've all seen all of us manifest like that. So let's all start working on this together so that it becomes our daily practice to manifest the future, right? So that's one vision that I like constantly see. As soon as anybody says New Earth, it's like greenery, cities. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Oh, can there be like little bits of waterfalls coming down and all of the things? I'm just like, oh, I love it. Look, it happened in, was it Japan? The deer started coming back into the city because there was no people. Like it's already happening, but we're not even concentrating on it, or we're not even amplifying it. We're concentrating on like bombs in other places and da da da. And yes, we should have compassion and send prayers, but like we spend so much time there and not reminding ourselves of how fucking powerful our visions for the future are. So that is my vision for the big cities. There is this amazing guy in Australia that created this machinery accidentally, of course, because he was trying to I think create a bomb for NASA or somebody, and he accidentally recreated this machine that takes lignite out of the soil, which is a particle in the soil, and it's the machine separates it, right? And then it becomes, what it actually does is it takes all this toxicity out of the soil. Like one of the molecules takes all the toxicity out of the soil, and the other one takes all the toxicity out of the air and out of the ocean. So anything that was like radioactive or is extremely poisonous to anything, anybody, any animal, any plant, it takes all of that toxicity out and turns it back into certified organic matter. So it literally does that, and the maximum it takes is 1 month. But it can literally take, some places that aren't super mega radioactive like nuclear bombs, it can take like a week, and the actual soil becomes certified organic soil again. Like this is already out there, like it's been out there for years. So a lot of us just need to remember that this stuff is already there, yet we haven't created enough vision for our future together collectively. So this is our new mission, to create vision collectively together, right? Like this thing is also like, this soil stuff is actually that amazing that, like all of the deserts used to have trees and all of the things before all of the stuff happened to those places. And I was speaking to him about this. I'm like, could it really regenerate the deserts, for example? He's like, Bly, that could regenerate the moon. I'm like, shut the fuck up. So exciting. So it can literally regenerate the soil in deserts even. So like, just imagine all of our deserts becoming rainforests again. Imagine all the plant life, all the animals, all the lush greenery, all the ecosystems that get to be reincarnated, like 2020 vision, guys. This is the vision that we get to have now. And it's up to all of you amazing humans to start putting the vision out there each day. Like imagine, like when I was flying over, the desert in Australia, like our red center, you can literally see where the water lines used to go. It's not that it was so in the distant past. It's that we forgot to bring it into the now, right? Like it was there, and we get to rebirth that. So visions of the deserts really being regenerated with this amazing product. Like I can't wait until I'm like a billionaire, because that's the first thing that I'm going to do, is literally spray this stuff all over the world and like full ninja it, so overnight nobody even knows, and everything just starts growing again. Like fucking can't wait. And so that is like freaking next level. So there'll be rainforests in the desert. So then there'll be beautiful lush waterways, beautiful greenery, shrubbery, animals everywhere, so people can thrive no matter where they live, and they're not dependent on companies that are producing food that are actually pharmaceutical companies that are making us sick. We get to shift that paradigm and go, hey motherfuckers, we see what you're doing. Thank you for having your chemical products over there. We're just going to live in our lush, amazing waterfall place. You know what I mean? 2:30 in the morning. I'm doing good. And then also this product, when it's sprayed, well, that's the land one. The air one gets sprayed in the air. So wherever the chemtrails are or anything like that, it literally takes the toxicity out of the chemtrails and turns it into plant matter so that when it falls into the ocean or onto the land, it turns into animal food, or it can turn into fertilizer. It's totally certified organic because the chemical particles are changed instantly, right? When it's something like a chemtrail or something like that, because it's not such a, hasn't been there for a very long time, right? And then when it falls into the ocean, like let's say there was an oil spill in the ocean, it literally sucks up that oil and recalibrates it and turns it back into fish food because it becomes organic matter. And so this is something that has been out there for years, right? Like this guy can't even give this stuff to the government, right? Like they're not interested. So it's up to us, the general public, to know about this stuff and create visions and remind ourselves when we go, oh, something's super toxic. Oh my God, that's going to be the worst thing ever. Or is it? Because I know that there's a product out there that literally can shift this in a heartbeat. So just reminding ourselves to constantly come back to what's actually out there once we remember the amazing things that our brothers and sisters have created, right? So that's another thing that is next level epic, okay? Another thing that I really want to share is, cannot even wait, and I know you all cannot even wait. Like obviously we need to be where we are now with all of the awakening, with all of the campaigns that are going on at the moment, like best political campaigning the world has ever seen, right? Like literally people that aren't even in America are like having opinions on all of this stuff. I would like to say that I'm just not a supporter of anybody. I don't even live in that country. I don't support the government because they're all fucking liars. What politician have you ever met that's told the truth? Exactly. Like, yeah, they're there for right now, but they are definitely not part of our future, right? Like, we don't need that crap. But in the interim, while we're shifting and changing, that system needs to be there. But we can get our, like, amazing people in there to do good work in there. Like, it shouldn't take too long. Like, give it 5 years, it'll definitely, like, there'll be good people in there. All this shit will have shifted, right? But in the interim, it does definitely need to be there because people are only just, waking up. But give it a bit of time and just fully support that. You don't need to support one or the other. They're all fucked up. Let's support human rights. Let's support freedom, and let's support every person as an individual. And in the future, that we don't even talk about race, that we all know where we came from. We all know our past. We all know like our future, past generations on this planet. We all know that we like part star people. We all know all these things about ourselves, and it's just common knowledge. So then we don't need to talk about it because we all understand and our history is correct in each and every single country, right? Like our Indigenous people actually get to put their truth into the school system. If that exists, it won't, but if that exists, right? So that it's actually real, because what is out there right now is all fucking lies, and we all know that. So let's just hold vision that and remind ourselves that this is not true. What we are being taught in all the history books and all the stuff, and like literally I was homeschooling with one of my friends and seeing what her kids were learning, I was like, this is literally lies. Like, why are you teaching your kid this stuff? She's like, we just have to do this for the schooling system, and then we're gonna we teach them the real stuff, like when the books are closed. It's all fucking lies. It's actually so sick. So when you actually look through what the kids are being taught at school, holy hell, like you need to be doing some work at home with your kids if you're a parent, because they are getting so programmed in the most disgusting way. It's unbelievable. So I went on a tangent because it's really late in the morning. So reminding ourselves that the governments are only temporary, and we just need to do right now what we need to do to wake people up, to bring it all back to freedom rights, all of those things, and visions for the future. If we can get people to think about the visions of what they want for the future, the things that they think are impossible, because remember, the mainstream people don't even for 1 second think that we can have freedom or equality. They don't even know what that looks like. They are like, and I don't like to say they and us, but it's half of my family, you know? And so when we can just continue to show up and just share and share and share, that's literally what I do with my family. Half of them have cracked, which is amazing because that's better than zero, right? It may have taken a really long time, but the others are like holding on to their identity and holding on to the fact that they want somebody else to look after them rather than actually looking after their own freedom and their own rights and their own bodies. They're so disconnected from their bodies. So if we can, you know, like you amazing people out there, keep on bringing people into their bodies, out of their mind bodies, into spirit, into source, into the land, into nature, into the oceans, into the forests, and just keep on getting people out of the cities, out of their normal, the TV and the mass media, and into the visions of what's actually possible, and just like sharing our love as much as possible, because the thing that dissolves fear is like love and gratitude. So, you know, like that's what I try and do with my family. Like, you know, one of my sisters, she won't hug me, she won't come near me. You know, it's like got to be six meters away, 12 feet? I don't know, maybe more than that, you know? And it's just like, I just send her so much love. She's like, get away from me. I'm like, I fucking love you. Like, I love you so much. Like, I love you. I can't wait to hug you again. Like, you know, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, you know, like just holding space so that each time I see her, that hopefully something else will have like dissolved and landed, because, you know, they've just got these brick walls, and each time we go in with our little bit of light, like we literally like, poof, just penetrate a little bit of light in their brick wall, and it just starts to crack open. And that's what we want. We just want to start to get our light out there and just crack it open a little bit more, right? And I come on here often and can come across as a little bit angry, but I'm not angry. I'm just passionate, like just so passionate, because I realize that most of the people on my feeds are super woke. So it's like, okay, guys, I like want to inspire you to get your voices out there and speak your truth to your community, because who knows, it could be like me, whereas half of them have started to wake up. All we need is everybody's half of their community to wake up, and we've done it. So just keep on sharing your truth. And when you get the daggers, just like have them with love, because each dagger is a little break hole in their wall. This looks terrible, but you know what I mean, is your light penetrating their asleepness. You're waking them up that little bit with each penetration. So each dagger that you receive back, just see it as such a gift. And like, oh, I just love that. Like, that's the start of somebody waking up to actually start to think for themselves, and their identity start to be shattered. Like, I have a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, Blythe, how do you deal with the daggers? I'm like, I deal with them with love. I'm fucking excited. Each one, I'm like, yes. Like, I literally have people telling me that I'm evil, that they hate me, that they wish I would die. And I'm like, I love you, brother. I love you. Let's go into that. Because when you're meeting somebody with such love, it dissolves the fear, it dissolves the anger, and they remind themselves, I don't even need to, they remind themselves that, like, they end up apologizing, you know, most of them, if it's a DM, they'll always end up apologizing to me. If it's on a main feed on somebody else's feed, anyway, they'll always end up apologizing to me, because I'm holding that space. Like, a lot of it is guys that have real female wounds, and they have a real hurt from the synthetic feminine, right? And when you can meet them with your divine feminine energy, far out, it dissolves all of those wounds, and they can literally, it's a gateway, it's a portal for them to come through their wombs and really acknowledge their own trauma and acknowledge how they were, and really show up in more love. So it can literally be like the biggest win. So I would say, if you are holding back on sharing anything because you're worried about what people are going to say or how they're going to attack you, if people are attacking you, you are waking up people. Like, that is so great. So I just honor you so very much, and please honor yourselves in those moments. And if you need like some support on that, just reach out. I'm so happy to like share how I would deal with that. Like, obviously, like, the more people we can like help to think for themselves, game changer, right? So what else? Visions for the future. I keep on going on tangents because I love tangents. One world. We all see, like, they're talking about one world government. We're talking about like just one world, one human race, all just happy beings supporting each other, like showing up no matter what is going on for somebody, loving them. I literally see like, until we fully transition over, like the jails, they will be literally rehabilitation centers, because a lot of the people that are in there, like 99.9% of the people that are in there are people that are victims of trauma, and they have a lot of wounds, and they just need a lot of support in the right way, nurturing, to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, and to actually be nurtured, their souls be nurtured, because they are beautiful, misunderstood people that are probably in there. Like, I know a lot of the high percentages in the prisons around the world are filled with Indigenous people who are in there because they can't actually afford to pay their fines. Like, that doesn't deserve to be in jail. Like, that's craziness. And it's not. It makes sense in our world, right? So we just need to remember that in the future, when these things are shifting, to have the mindset out there that these people that are incarcerated are our brothers and sisters, and they get to be nurtured back to rehabilitated back in the way that's going to serve their soul. But we want everybody to be able to be given a chance. I would just love to see everybody be able to be given a chance to find their heart again, you know, like to be able to be part of this community. And it is scary. I've seen people, like when we go on retreats and things like that, when we take people on retreats, that they're just like not used to that love. They're not used to receiving so much love. Like they've not received love their whole life, so the container is so shut off. And it's the same when people send you out these daggers of hate or towards you for things that you say. It's because they're not used to receiving love. And generally, a lot of the time, that's how they express. They actually subconsciously just really want to connect with you, and they don't know how to reach out, and that's their language. It's anger and abuse and all of the nastiness. I know I've seen it within my own family a lot. So that's how they express. So don't be scared or upset by any of those things, and just see that person's reaching out, and like, how can we serve them? And I always think it's through love. There's only one thing, it's love, right? It's always going to come back to love. And what else? I just see all of us across the whole planet. I see all the Indigenous tribes of each area, like they become our local councils, right? So we only really need like local councils, because then we get to travel like as we wish across the land, and knowing where we came from, knowing our ancestry and all of those things, but always being able to travel as we want. We're free beings. We get to do whatever we want in this world. And we just need to remember that we don't need to have these like mainstream jobs, because when the system collapses, we don't need, and I'm sorry for you people that are out there doing these jobs, but we don't need lawyers, because that system is broken, and it's not real, right? Like, unless you're going to Supreme Court, all the other court systems are like a load of shit, and they're there just to make money, right? For an entity that isn't even our government. It's not even our fucking government, guys. It goes to like other stuff, okay? So like a lot of these systems will collapse. Accountants, police will collapse. I do honestly believe that like all of these things need to be in our transitionary, but in the future, they won't need to be there. If somebody commits a crime or something like that in the future, we rehabilitate them. We don't put them away. They're just like having a really bad day, and they've obviously got some unresolved trauma, and we get to deal with it how they would in ancient tribes. And like, well, in Australia, it's only 250 years ago, right? Like, if you did something bad, you might get speared in the shoulder or something like that. And if people have that conscious awareness, like, I'm going to get fucking speared in the shoulder, like, you don't do it, you know, because physical harm as opposed to jail are two different things. And it really shifts the mindset of a lot of people. Or they get speared in the shoulder and they get to be rehabilitated. Like, choice is yours, buddy. Choice is yours. And when we don't have this issue, I mean, we do need money at the moment, but in the future, obviously, it'll be exchange. We all know that. But at the moment, we do need money. But when we have everybody earning a whole lot more equally, and we can exchange in a beautiful way, then everything really starts to shift. Like, who knows? Like, so many sovereigns have been working for years, decades, on getting our money back from the trustees, right? From the trustees. So if we can all get our own trust fund back that we're all entitled to, then we can be all equal, and we can all have so much fucking wealth that, like, if we were all wealthy, think of all of the things that wouldn't be an issue. All our financial needs would be met. So then Like there's so many people that would want to do philanthropic projects that all of the environmental and the humanitarian needs would be met, right? Like if we could get our money back from the trustee this year, all of us, the world would change by February next year, you know, like everything would be sorted. So there's a lot of people working out there on all of these things now. Okay. I have to go because my coach wants to have a session. Oh my God, it's 3:30 in the morning. Fuck. Okay. Okay, so guys, yes, okay, Preston, I'm coming off like, do you mean right now, Pete? Like literally right now? Okay, cool. Sweet. All right, guys, I'm going to go and have a coaching session. So I would like you to remember right now. I would love you all to remember 1 minute a day. Spend 1 minute a day on the visions of what the future could look like, on the visions that you want to create in the world, of the visions of how you want humanity to exchange with each other, on how the ocean looks, on how the cities look, on how the countries look, on how everything looks and feels. Like really bring it in, okay? And just have those visions and share it with other people. And like as you do this, more will come in. Okay, my name is Blythe Langford, your personal freedom coach. I love you so much. Bring in the visions, people. Bring in the visions, all us woo-woo freaks. I love you. Mwah!